Thank you so much. People have been
Yeah.
now to me and saying that if you can just get a little bit of perspective from leaders like you who are responsible for huge businesses and the decisions that they are making and how they see, it can at least give them some kind of a torchlight vision, if I may say. So, first of all, how the lockdown has kind of impacted your operations in India and overseas for the last 2 months at least.
I think the impact in India in terms of disruption in operations has been higher because of the supply chain challenges initially. And also, as I think the regulations also understood, or the government folks who are sort of administrating the crisis realize the bits that need to move for a business to run.
True.
And so I think that has really been the one element. The other has been getting the workforce into the factories and organizing the factories to be able to perform with all the social distancing norms. Because when you design a factory, you don't design it for social distancing norm, you design it for regular operations.
Absolutely.
So that has been the other challenge in terms of how much capacity you are able to really utilize, because you have to take care of the workforce. And our priority has been taking care of our workforce as step one over everything else.
Absolutely.
And then comes customers, really. So
I think that's come up as a main focus now, that our team and our people.
Yes.
So we've been like operating at, say now, currently, say it's end of 2 months.
Our plants are all operational. Yeah.
They are all operational.
All operational. Of course, not at full capacity, naturally. But whatever capacity we are allowed to operate while maintaining social distancing norms and our sense of protecting our workforce in HPPL, we've been operating that way.
Great. That could also be a guiding force for a lot of others. So, as you said, the logistics in terms of manufacturing, that of course was an issue.
Logistics in terms of receipt of raw materials and dispatch of finished product. So what has happened is the road logistics, availability of trucks and truck drivers.
Correct.
Has been a challenge because many of them are from communities who have now moved from Maharashtra or from their place of work to the original hometowns. And so we have a situation where you have trucks, you have containers, but you don't have drivers.
Is it becoming better now, or has it worsened with the migrants, with the help of government going back to their hometowns?
I think, well, the demand in the earlier part of the lockdown was less because we ourselves were getting our, learning how to operate the plants.
Correct.
So our dispatches were lower. So at a lower dispatch, there were people available. Now our dispatches are also increasing because many of our customers are opening their plants.
True.
And so as the demand for product is increasing, the sense of transportation is a challenge. But I think things are improving overall. Everybody is trying to address the issues.
Sure.
I think there is a huge amount of positivity in the entire ecosystem. And really that way, everyone is really trying to cope with something that is new for everyone. It's not that one part has come with prior experience.
No, I think everyone is in the same boat. But as far as the manpower for the logistics, that is one part, which I think it's going to be normal for everyone because the availability is like, standard. But as far as the workforce in the factories, did you face a challenge? Were there contractual labor who went away, or the people who are on your roles probably they would have
very little? No, we've had a very supportive workforce. We've also not taken any short-term measures or anything that would harm the sort of well-being of our workforce.
True.
So we are not laying off people or doing anything of those kinds.
That's very good.
And so we've had people come to work. Our priority really has been to make sure that coming to the factory does not endanger their health. And in India, we have not had a single COVID-19 case in our entire ecosystem.
Well, how many workers are there with you?
Workforce we have maybe it's in 4 digits, so it's quite a few.
Oh, okay, it's quite a few. Not a single case,
no, not them, not their families. So to that extent, we've been very disciplined, and I hope it stays that way as long as possible. but I think we have also had government officers, local officers come and scrutinize that our operations are being followed. So that discipline for them, other times I would have maybe said something, but I think this is a good thing from the government to make sure that when a private sector company says they're doing the right thing, somebody's coming and checking as well. So I don't see that as a negative. I see that as them also being caring and making sure that, sometimes you may miss out something inadvertently.
Yes.
So that has been a good thing. Yeah. So it's worked really well. Everybody's come together very.
So they come to the factory and they go back to their homes and they come in company vehicles, something like fleet.
Where there is company vehicle is not possible, they come in their private vehicles, and we of course compensate them for that.
Okay, so that is working well. So from that point of view, I think you've not faced any issue. That's wonderful. Maybe offline, whenever is possibility, the persons who's handling your operations, if they could give us a little guidance for 2-3 minutes. So for other factory workers who are, looking for some kind of guidance, because you are running multi-location volumes, it could be a great benefit to the industry. So I'll reach out to you differently for that. Sir, also because you are, I think the products that you are packaging, that has kind of seen a huge demand, whether it's personal or it's hygiene, or it's food. These are or pharma, all four. So I think you are right at the crux of what the demand is right now. How do you see the demand going in the next quarter? This is almost the quarter has finished.
I think it's going to slowly pick up. Which SKUs or specific size of products, etc., will move. I frankly don't know. It depends on what our customers are able to sell. But certainly we see an uptick in hygiene related. So whether it is hand wash, hand sanitizers, that group, of course, people are asking for more. We are also seeing increase in staples, which people want to have in the house when something like this happens. So that is following what common sense dictates.
True.
We certainly, as more factories open up, I think that's the key, or factories of our customers, because at the end of the day, our packaging materials go to a factory of a customer, of a Nestle or a Unilever or Britannia or whoever. As their factories open up and ramp up, I think we will see an increase in demand in Q3, especially with greater activities happening on the economic front. Because as of now, most of them are still related to home consumption. But I think going forward, there will be consumption in non-home environments as well. And so we certainly expect to see an increase in demand.
Is there any new vertical that has come up which you think could be, an area which could see a...
I think hygiene is something we are seeing quite a lot of.
Yes, hygiene and also...
Other than that, there may be some new variants around the staples. So the portfolio may move more towards what are truly essential amongst the food category also, rather than the,
so
the indulgences.
Maybe for the nutraceuticals more and less for the beverages, depending on now the focus on health.
See, the cold beverage season is March, April, May, and that season is over. True. So I think the beverages will, anyway, it's a cyclical business, and the season was always March, April, May, because the rains come in June. That time you don't want to drink the cold beverages and so on. True. But I think in terms of basic foods, it will be there. And there may be a shift also in terms of the demand from the rural sectors. Because a lot of the people who have moved back home, at least for the initial few weeks while they're there, and with the additional support that government is providing, they may just go for buying the brands that they were familiar with in the city where they work.
That's going to be continuity of their usage pattern.
So that may just happen in the
what we were also hearing is that a new vertical a new sector may open up, because in the rural areas, they were used to buying open, whether it's food items or personal care. Now they have a little bit of education is there, so they may go into branded, packaged, even those small units. That new vertical.
I think packaging will certainly expand because I think whether it goes from premium packaging or whatever, but loose to packaged, which is actually a very large, probably a larger piece of us. As a nation, what we sell versus packaged to local brand, to regional brand, to national brand. That's a separate journey. But loose to package certainly should increase, because I think there are benefits to packaging all said and done. And in that, flexible is the easiest one to do, because you have minimal, transportation costs and etc. Because your flexible packaging is not a huge part of the weight.
Absolutely. The volume is high, but the weight is less. And
yeah.
do you think this new buzz about the China thing, how do you perceive it? A lot of people are saying a backlash against China. How would you see business with China going forward? Because we take a lot of machines from China.
There are 2-3 aspects. If you think about why businesses went to China in the first place, they went there because of reliability and cost. These were the 2 drivers essentially. And in the crisis also, there's not been a hit on the cost. And in fact, in reliability, whatever raw materials we buy from China, there's been no hit on reliability of supplies either. And the way they have coped with the manufacturing side, I'm not talking about the politics of China. That's not my subject. I don't know about that. But I see China having, come back after the COVID, or at least managing post-COVID supply chain commitments as rigorously as before.
They've become more sensitive.
And there's been hardly any. Yeah, and they are, so if the original reasons for going to China, there's been no deterioration in that. I'm not sure whether companies would just, as a knee-jerk, want to change, because at the end of the day, the levers, if you remove COVID for a minute and say the levers to run a successful business, they are common across time. True. And so China's attraction, those quotients have not changed. Yes, COVID came, and so that has muddied the waters. But fundamentally, I'm not sure when the businesses begin to again settle down, because they would want to have cost competitiveness even more, especially if there are recessionary trends. And so there, if your costs go up in a local place or somewhere else, they will think again about it. And is fundamentally the reliability of China, has it reduced? I don't see it having reduced. So we'll have to wait and see. But politics plays a big role in these things, so we'll have to see how that pans out.
Geopolitical also. Last question, would you think that the focus on exports also go higher? Because what has happened, I know, been speaking to a few leaders myself, where the demand in India because of the lockdown was going down. So everyone started looking at new avenues outside, whether it was finished products or it was raw materials. People went to markets which they had never gone and sold earlier. So do you think that they will continue servicing the export markets more, and that could benefit India a lot?
I think it should at least be on the agenda very strongly, because I think this places us very well to be able to export far more than what we've done even before COVID. So I'm always a believer that our export growth has been very poor compared to what we ought to be. And this is a great impetus for us to really crank it up significant notches.
Absolutely. We're ready to go on the line now. And the plastics image that we always had, because I belong to that industry, we've seen plastics, we've been ourselves, and I think we are now back into the positive green light.
I think that was always a misguided sense of what's right and wrong. And as the consumers begin to get educated about the product and plastics, what plastics does in a person's life, I think here there will be a great help from the regulations that the government is putting around, making sure that we collect what's being thrown away after the consumer uses it. That will create a very different picture in terms of what it really does. Japan is a massive consumer of plastic packaging and so on. Probably one of the highest per capita plastic packaging consumer in the world. And their cities are the cleanest in the world also.
Yes,
these things are not correlated. It's how you manage your garbage.
More focus on that.
More important. More focus on that, and we are also keen to get into that. I mean, we really are now doing all our work from a circular economy perspective.
Perfect. So, I thank you so much. This has been really throwing us your experience, and how you are tackling with it will help a lot of people. I'm going to be sharing it with our members, and I will reach out to you later, maybe sometime after a month, just to touch back and say that how things look forward. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
sir. We're looking
Take care,
forward to
Nidhi.
connecting you again.
Stay
And
safe.
thank you again.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.